Let's see. Yes. Okay, does this thing work? Let me check real quick. Let's see how I'm doing. Yeah, I know I said to me looking at my phone, but I don't know how any of this stuff works. Let's see how this works. Not very nice. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Oh, it's fun to stay at the YMCA. Na, 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 YMCA is fun to stay. Okay, yeah, it seems to be working. Okay, bloody hell, baby, okay, it seems to be working. Okay, so I'm trying to start out the stream stuff. A friend of mine, Adam Francisco, a Latino Trump supporter, has told me that try live streaming. He does it all the damn time, so I might as well try. And yes, I have a speech impediment. So please leave the marking to a minimum. I'm used to it by now, but it gets annoying, okay? So let me just make things very clear of what I stand for. Since I'm running for mayor of West Fargo, North Dakota, I have to be honest. First off, this campaign I am starting is not really mine. It is our campaign to make America clean again and to keep it clean. Do you know why I had this as my campaign? Well, simple. I hate trash and litter, okay? My old home in Michigan was 30 minutes away from Detroit. The Detroit. And the entire city was full of trash, rubbish, and garbage. And no, I'm not talking about the politicians. But because of that, the value of the entire state crumbled into about probably a handful of pennies. That, and it's not just Detroit. Other cities that have a high trash problem suffer. San Francisco, Chicago, New York City all have one thing in common: piles and piles of trash, okay? So, this movement is to make sure we can clean up America before it's too late. You see, I just really want to get into politics to make a difference. Unlike most people who want to get into politics just to fatten up their damn wallet. Imbeciles! The whole point of being part of politics is to make things good, to be a proper representative. It's probably one of the most noble things anyone can do. I think that's what Teddy Roosevelt's father said. Public life is probably one of the best things anyone can do. But the purpose of that, even if you are a senator, representative, or mayor, is to follow the law and to not betray the people. So far, most of Congress has done just that: betray the people. We need a fresh new face. I'm not saying that the current mayor is an old fogey. No, I've talked to him many of times, and he seems like a good mate, a good lad, a good friend, whatever you say it, either in the Aussie language or in the complicated language of the British. I mean, seriously, have you heard these limeys? They sound like something from a chant from The Hobbit or something like that. But to the bottom topic, my campaign is, well, let's just say it's not brilliant. It's not up to date. It's not really, high class, but it is simple. And also, back to what I was stating before, Apparently, some of you seem to not like my video on my views on cannabis. You see, I went from 1,500 subscribers to now almost less than 1,300 subscribers. YouTube said it is either from you unsubscribing or from YouTube just deleting bots. What are those called again? Just blank accounts, bot accounts. But either way, I just want to make you know that my views will not change. I am not like a flip-flopper, like Kamala Harris or John Kerry, or any other rhino or radical Democrat in Congress. My views stand as now. Or whatever the hell that means. But basically, my views will not change. I know you hate it when I repeat myself, but that's the effect of autism. You tend to repeat yourself for no reason. I don't know why. Ah, damn, I did. Now, you might be wondering that, am I serious? Am I a joke? No, I've been taken as a joke for far too long. People seem to believe that autistic people seem to be stupid, ignorant, and dare I say, lazy. And the R word. I can't say the R word because YouTube is made for little crying babies, liberals. And I want to put a stopper to that rumor. Autistic people, we are not stupid. We are not ignorant. We are not the R word, okay? We are just a bit different. We pronounce things differently. We act differently. We dress differently. So I'm trying to prove that any autistic guy or woman can do great things. My way of doing so is to pick up trash, hence the Make America Clean Again movement. But it's not really my idea. It has been around for some time now. If anything, it is a subsidiary, a splinter group of the Make America Great Again movement. Nothing wrong with that. I am not claiming ownership of the movement. I am trying to embrace the movement, to forward the movement. Why? Because honestly, who would want to live in squalor and filth and trash other than raccoons and squirrels? And I know I might be rambling, but you must understand. I am new to this live streaming business, okay? So by all means, make fun of me all you want. I've heard it all before. I even made a few videos showing the comments that some of you progressive, tolerant, exonerated liberals keep on posting. You call me the R word this, you call me the R word that, you call me a stupid R word, a mad R word, a dumb inbred R word. I mean, seriously, for the tolerant world, you seem to be full of hate. Okay? And I'm tired of that. All I want to do is to clean up America and then keep it clean. Why do you think I'm even doing this? To further the movement, to keep America clean, okay? And I know no one is going to really be here because I'm as popular as probably fucking herpes, but I will continue, okay? I am very nervous right now, kinda. But I get used to it after a while. Now, another thing I should tell you is my other views. Cannabis, I fully believe, it should only be. Sorry, I hear Italian, but I believe cannabis, marijuana, weed, dope, or whatever you want to say it, should only be used for medical research. Medical research. Say cancer patients, people who are going through chemotherapy and they need something to ease them out, mellow them out, ease their pain. And heroin is a killer, so don't do that. It is very bad, very bad. It's so wrong, very bad. I'm sorry. I'm trying to lighten the mood because this is a serious topic, okay? I really believe that marijuana, weed, or however you want to say it, should only be used for medical use. Only medical use. Because they say it's not addictive, it's not addictive, it's not addictive, it's not addictive. Or really, the same people who smoked pot in high school like 20 years ago, 95% of them most likely are still smoking weed today. Why? The smell is horrible. It smells like a rhino's anus, for crying out loud. And don't tell me how I know that. And my other views is taxation. Yes, I believe taxation is fair, but only when it is abused. For example, how many taxes does America have? We have a tax on the money you make. You have taxes on the money you spend. You have taxes on the money you don't have. Well, that's what Kamala Harris tried to do. The equality income tax thing, or the unseen gains tax, whatever the frick that means. Then you have a tax on stuff you sell. And when you die, you have to pay a tax. When you were born, you had to pay a tax for something. For example, if you have a newfound baby, you had to pay taxes on this and that. And then there's taxes on cars. Then at the pump, you have to pay taxes for something else. They used to have a tax on alcohol, but that was that's a different subject for a different time. But my point is that there's too much taxes and they're too high. And where the hell are our taxes going? Going to some country most people can't even point on a goddamn map? You don't see it, but there's a map of the world next to me. You've probably seen it in my videos. But my point is, why should all of our taxes go to all these countries where most people don't even know where the hell they are? It's basically like a random lottery. Or like Oprah Winfrey, you did government aid, everyone did government aid. Except for the states. They rather send taxes to, say, Ukraine, Syria, or who knows where, but won't send any money to North Carolina. They won't send any money to Georgia. They won't send any money to Texas. But they would love to give $10 billion to some country in Europe that they can't even pronounce. Another thing I really want to change in politics is how politicians act. For example, most politicians they are like this. Very weak hand movements. For God's sake, where's the fighting ability? I mean, people like Justin Trudeau, they're all meek, feeble. They never dare raise their voice, and they always seem like their hands are more softer than a baby's ass. As in, they've never done any labor in their entire lives. I know hard work. I've done it before. But then that's to do with the DEI. DEI is a deadly, deadly philosophy. It's basically just segregation but reverse. And I think both are evil. Segregation and DEI are evil practices that should be abolished, along with CRT, critical race theory. When did this start? That you inherit the guilt of your ancestors? Only if you're white. They don't pull that crap on the Japanese. They don't pull that crap on the Germans. They don't put that crap on Africa. So why should it only be white Americans? This country has only been alive for almost 250 years now, probably more. And yet we are to put all of the guilt on our soldiers. Again, I have a speech impediment. Basically, it's like this. Say your great ancestor did something bad. Should you be blamed for what they might have done? Okay, how about this? Say your great grandfather was part of the South Army in the Civil War, okay? And he was known for saying racist things, okay? Does that mean that you should be punished over something that he did like over 100 years ago? No, you weren't born. You weren't a part of it. It would be like blaming a toddler because his great grandfather supported segregation. That makes no sense. But they only do it with white people, white Americans. You never see them do anything with the Mexicans, even though they had their history too. Mexico has never been peaceful. I mean, you step one step out of the resort, and it's basically a war zone. And of course, the Russians have their problems too. But back on topic, CRT is a deadly, deadly philosopher, and needs to be abolished. My next thing is, well, let's see, I did the cannabis thing, talked about how taxation can be insane, ludicrous, but asinine, and how politicians should loosen up and should probably be vetted. I mean, there's that one congresswoman or congressperson that was talking about funding for gender neutral or female test dummies. You know, the one that looks like the vegan teacher, but only with a more terrible hair dye job. Who is vetting these people? Is she even a representative? Who are these people? And here's another thing I have a problem with. I'm not a big fan of sports. I'm not a sports fan or a sports enthusiast. Because of this simple reason. Most people who are into sports, like highly into sports, get so angry, so furious, so invigorated with the boiling pressure of the sun because their team lost one game. I've seen so many people break TVs, clips on YouTube because their team lost. It's just a game. It's not serious. They will still get paid. It's not like if you lose a game, they take away your pension. No, you win some, you lose some. Get over it. But the same people, the same individuals, that get so angry, so infuriated, so mad because their game loss, the team loss, don't get angry when $10 billion seem to go missing from the Pentagon. That or they had to pay taxes for somebody else. That or their tax dollars goes to some country they never heard of. And I have proof about this. Excuse me. For example, well, not really example, there's actually proof of this. These sports fans, they can name any linebacker, they can name the coaches, they can name any golfer, they can name anyone from the NBA or any other sports organization, but they can't name their own representative. That is shocking. You can name all these linebackers. You can name all these baseball people. You can name how much sweat dripped off a certain player, but you don't know who is your own representative. That is shocking because some of these representatives, I have no idea how they got into Congress. They're so bland and basic. They all look the same. They all talk the same. They all probably eat the same. You know, those high-class Washington restaurants. I just don't understand sports. I don't want to bash people who enjoy sports. If it's something people have told me sports can unite people. A Democrat and a Republican can join bonds, become friends over sports. But that can also break relationships too. Say you are a Republican and your friend, your work buddy, is also a Republican, but you have different sports teams. Say you support the Vikings. I don't know why. And your friend supports the Lions. And you get into a heated argument and blah, blah, blah. That's my point. I just think that sports can be pointless. Some sports, mindless sports, but some of them can be entertaining. Others are just boring, like tennis. Dear God, watching tennis is like watching flies fornicate. Now I'm talking about that. Now, my other thing I have concerns about in politics is mostly due to the voters. I'm not trying to bash the voters, I'm simply stating a known fact. For example, during the 1960 campaign, the presidential election, many people supported Kennedy not because of his policies, not because he had a good record, but because he smiled more. Because he had a big old goober smile. Over Richard Nixon, who was the VP for 8 damn years. Think about it. They supported a new guy, which I guess that made some sense, but they did not vote for Kennedy based on, say, his policies or his record. They voted for him because during the first ever live TV presidential debates, he smiled more. That's your reasoning? Because your candidate smiled more? That's it? Richard Nixon was the VP for 8 bloody years. He had a good record up until after the incident. Do you see what I mean? It's all about looks. I mean, even Donald Trump, like 30 years ago, even stated most good, hard-working people would not get elected. I think he said that if Abraham Lincoln ran today, he would lose every election because he was a very ugly, ugly man. But his brain was more beautiful than the goddess Athena. It was his smarts. But no, any old typical politician with a $200 single-breasted two-button-up suit with a slick comb over, like Governor Newsom, and some bland-ass tie, some appropriate English, a few handshakes, a good smile, and suddenly they're a freaking senator. That makes no sense. It's not like Bernie Sanders. He keeps getting reelected over and over again, even though his policies are garbage, and other politicians as well. But because they bring out the good smiles, they bring out the big smiles for 4 years or for 2 to 8 years. Basically, if it depends if you're a representative, senator, or governor or whatever. Representatives, they did 2 years. Governors and mayors, whatever, they did 4 years. Senators did 6 years, which I think is a bit concerning. But basically, as soon as you get elected for 2 or 4 or 6 years, you can do absolutely nothing for your entire first term. And people would hate on you, for everything you did or did not do. But once election comes, suddenly, they bring out the big smiles. They bring out the big smiles, and the handshakes, and the hand gestures, and the pizzazz. And then suddenly, they get elected for the second term, and then nothing happens again. And I mean, for God's sake, Nancy Pelosi is 84 goddamn years old, and she's still in Congress. What has she done to deserve that? Feinstein was 90. Can you name one thing Feinstein did during her 100 years in Congress? I'm not being serious. She looks like she was over 200 years old. But my point is, the people who have been in Congress for God knows how long, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, they keep getting reelected over and over and over again, even though their track record resembles something like, I don't know, the Ohio train disaster. But that's a type of a different story. I just don't understand this. How these people keep getting reelected every 2 to 4 to 6 years. They keep on saying, I will do this, I will do that, I promise this, I promise that. But once they get elected or re-elected, everyone just seems to forget. they seem to forget, or they are actually hoping that this time they will fulfill their promises. Yes, sir, like Neville Chamberlain and that idiot Austrian painter. Basically, it's like this. Neville Chamberlain hoped that if he kept appeasing that idiot, that Austrian lunatic, that maybe he would fulfill his promises over and over and over again. I know that is a broad statement that is somewhat not connected, but it's supposed to be like this. These congressmen, these congresswomen, these politicians, they keep promising you the same thing every time it's time for re-election season. But after the election is over and all the fanfare is gone, no one seems to try to, fulfill the promises. And the people seem to forget. It's almost like they just don't really care who is their candidate as long as their party is still in charge. Remember the vote no matter who, vote no matter who. Yes, sir. I'm pretty sure if a little pile of crap was running as the Democrat nominee, it would get 16 million votes in the primaries. But that wouldn't matter because, the Democratic Party is not democratic. I mean, for God's sake, Joe Biden got 16 million primary votes. Didn't mean squat. Now, some of you might also be wondering what is my stance politically. Am I a moderate conservative? Am I a Trump conservative? Am I a moderate? Obviously, I'm not a moderate, but I will work with moderates. True moderates. Not people who say they're moderates, but then vote for this bill that try to destroy America. Like Democrat moderates. Those few Democrats in Congress that do vote with us Republicans, okay? I'm fine working with moderate Democrats or independents as long as it means we can further the goal of making America healthy, great, clean, strong, proud, wealthy again. Now in my videos, whenever I say Democrat this, I hate Democrats that, it's mostly to do with radical Democrats. Those on the Democrat Party who are very left wing. Okay, those people I do not like because they hate me 10 times more. Another thing I have to talk about, I know I'm rambling. I'll end this soon. But for first stream, it could be better. It's Glenn. It's my first stream. Another thing I don't really understand in its political nature is how you have to file so much paperwork just to be on the ballot. It's so complicated nowadays. That and only the rich, fancy billionaires can do that because they have the funding. That, they take deals under the table, like did. And that's something I just don't like. Okay, I will fund myself if necessary. I will not take bribes. I will take your bribe and shove it where the sun don't shine. But donations I will take in cash. Why? Because I don't understand this donation thing online thing. Because Adam Francisco said if I was to be on his live stream, I would need a website so people can donate to it. I am not good at that. Why? Because I don't trust that. Donating money online, yeah, sure, but it takes one hacker and it gone. So what would I do? Cash. Donations in cash. It's legal. And I'm not going to abuse it because why would I abuse it? Why would I abuse your trust? It would end my career quicker than you can say inflation. So I'm gonna wrap this up soon just so I can review it and see what I did wrong, what I can do better at, and how my mic quality is doing. Now, this is gonna be probably the only one I will do for this week, but if it goes well, I will do more. Hopefully, with a more organized structure. Okay, this is Hans Glutenberg signing off. And no, that's not my real name. It's just a stage name. Vote Painter in 2026. Let's see if it's end. Wait a minute. I got somebody. Hold up. I got somebody. Alex Philbert says, "Damn, just got here. Viva la Fogo!" I agree, but I am for West Fargo. Why? Because I live here. Makes sense. But here's something I have to also. Well, since I actually have somebody here, I might as well talk to them. Mr. Philbert, how are you, my good man or woman? How are you? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling adequate? Are you feeling moderate? Or are you doing just okay? Let me see. It's almost lunchtime. I'm still waiting for a reply. Okay, good. Feeling conservative. I always feel conservative. Well, since I got you here, do you live in North Dakota? Or anywhere near North Dakota? North Dakota seems like. Nowhere close. I live in Virginia! Ah, what's the time of Virginia? If only we won Virginia. You know, there was predictions that, well, if Biden were to stay in the race, we would get over 350 votes. I think I showed a screenshot of that some time ago. That Virginia and the pollster went red, so red, redder than cherry, redder than apple, redder than my nice tie. But then Kamala somehow oozed her way through, and then things got changed. Yeah, emails, Gmails, baby. But Virginia, I've never been to Virginia. I heard that you have a good governor. Unfortunately, because of some weird laws there, you can only be governor of Virginia for one term. So Glenn Youngkin, I think that's his name, his term is almost up, so they will have somebody else. Yeah, Youngkin! Governor Youngkin! God, I don't understand that law. Why is that a law? You know, you can only serve one term as governor. In that case, that would just make things more complicated. But then again, I guess it is a deterrent for career politicians. If anything, we should have that probably in some Congress too. Some people in Congress have been there since probably what, the 1850s. I mean, Nancy Pelosi looks like she was at the Panama Canal when it was being constructed. It's like she has more wrinkles than a rhino's anus. Jesus Christ! And then there's Feinstein. She was 90 when she died. I said something about that earlier in the video about how some politicians are just too old and they should retire. What do you think, Alex Philbert? Do you think there should be term limits and age limits in Congress? Nixon had a similar idea. Say, if you're in the House, once you reach like 40 or 50, get out. And if you're in the Senate, you should go up to 70 and then you're out. Because Nancy Pelosi, she's 84 years old, yet she's still in the House. I think come January, they are all going to be facing a possible early. Yeah, I think so too. For example, Mitch McConnell, turtleneck. God, I hate that guy. He says he's on our side, but then he wines and dines with Chuck Schumer. How can you say you two all are big enemies when you have lunch and brunch every Sunday morning? It's like you never saw Winston Churchill do that with that despicable Austin Painter. No. And yes, I do agree. I agree that there should be term limits and age limits, and there should be a mentor check. Every 2 years, if you're in the house, there should be a mentor check to see if you're still there. I mean, seriously, every time I hear Nancy Pelosi, I imagine this. She talks like this, she talks like this, because her jaw is falling off over 20 years of drinking alcohol and booze. And then you Mitch McConnell like this. I'm Mitch McConnell. Like, sometimes I just forget they're even there because they're just so benign. They're so. I just don't understand how they keep getting reelected. I mean, think about it. I said this earlier in the live stream. When it's time for re-election, even if they did nothing at all, once it's election season, then they make the big promises. Then they bring out the big smiles, and the handshakes, and the hand gestures, and the hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. But once they get re-elected for the next 2 to 4 to 6 years of the next term, they do nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. For example, how does Governor Newsom keep getting reelected when he's done nothing? Nothing. Or how do most people in Congress keep getting reelected if most people don't know who they are? Think about it. I also did an analogy of this earlier in the stream. About some people can name all of the linebackers. They can name anyone in sports, but they don't know who their own representative is. That is dangerous. But I think that's by design. That's what the Romans did. During the good old days of the Roman Empire, barbarian sieges and plague. But one thing, building theater, exactly. That's the whole point. Building theater. Instead of actually telling people and showing them what's wrong, they have a smoke screen. And I hate that. I want to be real with you. And this is my real voice, this is my real tone, and I will not BS you. I don't understand how people can fall for this. That or they watch Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime. There are some people who actually enjoy Rings of Power, but they don't know anything about politics. That is shocking. Yes, I know some people do watch something on their free time to ease, to mellow themselves out over a long day of BS. But bloody hell, you have to know something about politics, especially when you're 18, because that is voting age. But then again, the current generation does not seem to be doing so well. I'm talking about Gen Z. I did a video about Gen Z in the past. I said some very hurtful, vulgar, unkindly words about Gen Z. Some of it I think it was warranted, some of it I think I went too far. And to let you know, I am Gen Z, but I'm not stereotypical Gen Z. For example, what the hell is a skibbity? I have no idea what a skibbity means. And I don't know what poggers means. All this Sigma thing. All this Riz. I am not a stereotypical Gen Z. I mean, just like how I dress. I dress like I'm ready to take the oath of office and become the next leader of the free world. Like Trump. But Alex Philbert, what do you think about, say, for example, the current situation with taxes? I did a few videos talking about my stances for my campaign. My opinions on abortion, taxes, foreign aid, yada yada yada. But what do you think about taxes? Are they too high? Too outrageous? Too extreme? And do you think that instead of, say, funneling millions and billions of dollars into some country in Europe that most people don't even know where it is, I go on rant sometimes. But my point is, what do you think about that? Do you think that we should spend billions and billions of dollars to send it to some country most people can't even point on a map? Or should you also we spend that money here? I can't tell if you're being ironic when you say, no, I like giving all my money to Ukraine actually. Are you being for real or are you being sarcastic? Because frankly, I don't think that they will pay back. Ukraine is like that one friend that says, hey man, how about $5? I'll pay you back. And then 10 days later, hey man, I need $5. I'll pay you back. And then it keeps happening over and over again. Ukraine is like the bad friend that keeps asking for money but never pays it. Russia's gonna end up with all of our cool stuff to reverse it. Well, I didn't send it there. I didn't send all of our high-tech equipment to Ukraine. That was politicians. And that's another thing. Why should we be the only ones giving all of these bullets, bombs, planes, jets, and tanks, cargo bombs, and vehicles to Ukraine? When they have actual neighbors that can give it to them. Romania, Poland, Germany. I'm pretty sure even Liechtenstein could do more support there than we could. Why? Because they're on the border. Also, why are we giving them money? Why are we just giving them money? Why not just land lease them? You see, I had a brilliant idea, an idea that we used in World War II. Excuse me. Back in 1940 and early 1941, before we got into the conflict, before we actually went to war, we land lease stuff to the British, the Free French, the Free Polish, and even to the Soviet Union. Basically, it was like this. Say Great Britain, they needed planes, right? So we leased them planes. They paid for planes. We give them planes. They need bullets. We lend them bullets, and then after the war's over, they pay us. It's simple. I mean, hell, I heard Russia finally paid its debts to Japan. Don't know. I did not know they had debts in old T-80 tanks or T-34 tanks. So clearly, it can be done. You can pay off your debts. But our country won't do that, unfortunately, because they like having a high debt ceiling, and every few months they threaten a government shutdown, but then they keep on raising the debt ceiling higher and higher and higher. But to go back on topic about the taxation, I fully believe that we should eliminate this property tax thing and have something else. I think RFK Jr. had an idea about that. I think that seemed like a good idea, but don't you think it's a bit ridiculous how there's more taxes than there are people? Yeah, it seems like that. They even try to put a tax on unclaimed gains. All it takes is a simple policy. It's not hard. We just need to put America first. Yeah, make America great again by putting America first. Something like the Land Lease program, yeah! While helping others put America first. Exactly. Why don't we do that? We did that in World War One, in World War Two. The amount of canned spam and powdered eggs we gave to them would fill a bloody mountain. But we didn't just give them stuff. We land it to them, and then they paid us over time. I'm pretty sure they still haven't paid their debts. But that's what we should do instead of a Ukrainian aid package. It should be a Ukrainian lend-lease package. As in, we lend them some crates of ammunition, some of our old crap that have been outdated since probably 1965. And in return, over the next 5 years, they pay it off. I had a brilliant idea, okay? Say we do help Ukraine win the war against the Russians, and Ukraine gets back its territories. All right, I believe for the next 5 years, we should get 40% of their oil supply. I mean, hell, if it wasn't for us, there would be no oil supplies. It only made sense, right? If it wasn't for us, you would have no oil. Might as well give us some of it as compensation. But it should be once a year. For example, it should be the first of the year. Once a year for 5 years on the dot. We should get 40% of their yearly, of last year's oil supply. That would also help with the current situation we have now because of the no fracking this, no fracking that. I don't believe in that stop fracking stuff. I mean, we should have more than just one way of powering stuff, okay? Some people want to go all electric because it's fancy, it's new, it's exciting, it's hip. But it is very unreliable. Some people think we should only use solar power. Yeah. Unless you're in Alaska, where it could be 24 hours of nighttime. Some people want, or say you're in a very cloudy area, like Chicago, where there's only sun there, like never, or Cleveland. But what do you think about that? I know we were talking about the Ukrainian thing, but I think that can be settled by a simple 5-year thing. Hold up. Yeah, tariffs. And that's another thing. They say Trump's tariff plan would destroy America. Trump's tariffs would be a tariff on the American people. It's not. These people are idiots because they try to link up Trump's tariffs with the McKinley tariffs. The McKinley tariffs were a horrible idea because McKinley orchestrated them first. Basically, I think Trump's idea for tariffs is a deterrent, not saying it should be as a defensive idea, not a offensive idea. Say for example, France puts a 25% tax on anything coming from America into their ports. Then, by retaliation, anything coming from the cheese-eating surrender monkeys coming into America should have a 25% tariff tax on it. It's for retaliation. It's plain and simple. The fools in the media and the fools in Congress just don't understand. The tariffs are not an offensive measure. They are a defensive measure. They are a deterrent. If any country, allied or not, wants to put tariffs on any American goods coming into their country, we should do the same and vice versa. That way, we get even. Or, if they are very persnickety, we should double the tariffs just so they don't do it again. Makes sense, right? Basically, it's the whole you screw me, I screw you 10 times harder. That's something my brother taught me. And another thing I'm getting real sick and tired of is all these G7, G12 meetings. What do they even accomplish? What's the point of them? They do nothing whatsoever. I just think it's an excuse for every world leader to get into a big fancy room and compare clothing. You know, just a way to show off what is new, what is hip. I think those G7 meetings are worthless waste of time. They are a waste of time. Another thing I really don't like is why do we keep sending aid to Canada? I know I just made a video on the whole annexing Canada idea. What do you think about it? I believe we should do it. Why not? What will they do? Fire at us? Thanks to Castro's love child, they had no guns. It'd be easier just to send one redneck with a shotgun all the way to the capital of Canada, knock on their door, point the gun at them, and saying, "Now listen here, man, I want Canada," and then they surrender. But I know that's more of a cartoony version, but I believe if we should annex Canada, I think we should do it as soon as possible. Right? Well, think about it like this. We send so much money to Canada. We give them so much foreign aid, don't know why, and we also give them military aid. When was the last time Canada was attacked by somebody? Exactly. Why should we pay every year like millions and millions of dollars to a country that no one invades? It's like giving a nuclear bomb to Switzerland. There's no point in it because they will never use it. So I believe we should annex Canada, make it the 51st state, so then we can get taxes on them. I know! Call me a hypocrite! But that will be the only way we can get our money back. Basically, they were investments. We invested in Canada. We invested in all these other countries, and we want our investment back. That's called good business. Canada has a population smaller than the state of California. That's true. They are barely a country. We absolutely should, and then we should take a portion of northern Mexico. Mexico. Ugh. Do we really want Mexico? I mean, it's Mexico. But then again, if it's to liberate them from the cartels, I see no problem with that. If it's to liberate them from a evil tyrannical government, I see no problem with it. For example, we would not be invading Canada, we would be liberating them from Trudeau. I cannot pronounce his name correctly, I have a speech impairment. That, and it would reduce his power from prime minister to a simple governor, meaning that he would not have that much power. And frankly, I think he needs less power since he's been in power for what 12 years now, and Canada has only gone down and down into the crapper. That, and think about like this. We would only be securing Canadians instead of, say, paying them, instead of giving them all this money. We can just do it ourselves with our troops, our helicopters, our tanks. And besides, they have no newts. We have all the newts. They want newts? Join us. Makes sense. It will be done legally. If both sides agree. It's like that Greater Idaho thing I talked about in a previous video. Basically, there was a movement that started around 2020 that most of Oregon should join Idaho. I believe that is a good idea because it's not really destroying one state, it's just taking the counties that agree more with another state and joining them legally. Not much would have to be changed on all the maps. Most people don't even care about Idaho. I do, because, well, it's part of the congressional seating district. For example, it's all based on population. East Washington as well. You see, with the Greater Idaho thing, what? Well, oh yeah, Washington. Washington State, they can keep it. But Oregon, they have a lot of red counties in the east. All of the rich people are on the coast. For example, if you look on the electoral map of all the people that voted for Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, most of the people that voted for Kamala Harris were on the eastern seaboard. They were on the and they were on the seaboard or on the western seaboard. Most of California was actually red. It was only on the coast where all the hardcore snobs live, where it was all blue. But back to topic on Idaho and how the Sama connects to the Canadian annexing project. It can be legal, but only if both parties agree to it. Most of the counties in Idaho want. I mean, most of the counties in Oregon. My apology. Most of the counties are the eastern counties in Oregon want to join Idaho because they want to be better represented. That's the whole point. No taxation without representation and all that stuff. But the government of Oregon says no to it because then they would lose House seats. Because I know every state has 2 senators, no matter what. If you're big or small, only 2. But representatives, that's based on population. So does the electoral college. For example, North Dakota only has 3 votes because we have a population of what, less than a million. California gets like 54, maybe 53 soon if they keep screwing up, because they have millions and millions of people. So if say half of the state of Oregon joins Idaho, they would lose probably a couple hundred. They would lose a couple hundreds, maybe even thousands. So they would lose some seats in Congress and some votes on the map. They don't want that. But some people are saying that would better condense power because the people on the west side of Oregon, they are leftist Democrats. The people on the east are MAGA conservatives, and they have a conflict of interest. So people are suggesting it would be easier if the state of Oregon gives up its MAGA minority, as they said, and focus more on the liberal elite. That way, they can also limit the amount of resources they can give. I believe Idaho should become bigger, not because of any mad idea, simply because I believe the people there should be represented properly. Again, I have a speech impediment. And that goes for the people of Canada. They are not being represented properly. They say they want lower taxes. They say they want less gun restrictions. But what does Castro's love child do? He ignores them. That beats the entire purpose of the government. What the people want is what the people should get. So if actually some Canadians they do come to America because Canada is not the greatest place on earth. I know what some snobby Canadians will say, but Canada is not all that great. Back when I was in Michigan, lots of Canadians came over because Michigan has a bridge connecting to a part of Canada on one of its lakes because they don't like Canada. They came over here to buy our clothes, to buy our food. Our food, despite how unhealthy it is somehow less unhealthy than the food in Canada. So, by all means, if a good majority of Canadians wish to join America, they should. It should be legal. That or we can just buy the damn place because of what Trudeau did. The price of Canada is probably what? 10 cents? 25 cents? A buck? Because honestly, a good portion of Canada is snow. Okay? Most of the population is on the border with us. But then again, there might be some resources up north that we just don't know about. We don't know because no one barely lives up there. But that goes back to another idea I had. Well, it's not really an idea, it's something I agree with. For example, should we I would love to make Canada a national park. Nothing but hunting. Yeah, that makes sense. A national park. But I think there is a national park here in North Dakota between basically the reason why we are called the Peace Garden State is because of some garden we have to represent the friendship between America and Canada and how we have no ill will against each other. And that is true. I don't hate Canada. I, I went there as a kid. It's fine. It's fine. I had some friends over in Canada back when I was a kid. And I have to say, they're not nice in the stereotypical sense. They have some fight in them. I mean, if you want a prime example, look up Canadians World War II in Italy. They gave the Australians a run for their money. They are. Those Canadians are brutal. But back to what I was saying about Canadians being properly represented. They want to join America, so I believe they should. It makes the most sense, and it would save on sending all this money to them, because then we could just tax them. I know that seems a bit hypocritical, I know, but again, it is the only way for us to get some of that money back. That would be the only way we will ever get even a portion of that money. The same money we gave to them because they asked for it. Because we're so kind in giving give every country our money. But back to what I was going to say, I other than Canada, I think we should also annex or at least buy Greenland. Turns out you can buy a country if it's owned by another country. For example, Greenland is owned by the Danish, right? It's up for sale. And if we don't do it, the Chinese will do it. And we already had a problem with a Russian sub off the coast of Florida twice. So it would make sense if we were to secure the lands north, south, east, and west of us. It only makes sense as a military standpoint, or whatever words that some congressman makes. They always make these statements that nobody really understands. I'm trying to use plain and simple language, I know. So if we don't buy Greenland, some country will. Yeah, lawyer talk, yeah. The mundane flipper flapper that no one really understands, but they just nod their head to so then they don't seem like a dumbass. Basically, whenever you see a meeting in Congress, you always see people say nodding, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But in reality, they have no idea. They have no idea what they're talking about. But as I know I'm sorry, keep getting off topic. I have lots to say, lots and lots to say. But if we do buy Greenland, the resources there would pay back the money we paid the Dutch because it would be a good investment. I looked it up. Greenland has tons of oil and iron, stuff we need. So why not just buy it? It makes the most sense. It's legal. But as for annexing northern Mexico, maybe we should take some of the northern Mexico. If anything, maybe we should just stop giving them money until they fix their cartel problem. Because I heard they have a. Wait, I really just want to get rid of the. Yeah, the cartel sucks, and they control the government. Doesn't matter how many elections they have, Mexico will always be ruled by the cartel unless we get involved. That just means more money being spent into the military, more lives lost because we would have to invade Mexico, and they have a large majority of hardened criminals there because of the other countries sending them up north, like for example, Nicaragua, El Salvador, no longer Argentina, thank God for that. I'm pretty sure maybe even Brazil is sending some of its criminals up the path to Mexico. So if we were to invade Mexico, it would be a cost of life. It would be a lot of dead men. And that I have a problem with. If anything, why don't we just buy Mexico too? I mean, our dollar is worth what? 100 pesos? If anything, we can just buy Mexico and then just turn it into the 56. The 50. I have a speech impediment. I know. We can just turn it into the 52nd state. I know it may seem a bit of that manifest destiny BS they tried to pull 100 years ago, but I do think it could be a good idea. Another thing I think we should do is probably stop paying into NATO until NATO itself, start paying for itself. Why should we pay the bill? Again, that goes back to the whole taxation thing. Most of our tax dollars goes into NATO. NATO doesn't do anything for us. And I'm pretty sure, well, no, it's true that Joe Biden sent how much money to some African country because they had a hurricane or something there, or a tornado, or some earthquake, like $80 billion. Why? But he does nothing for the good people of Georgia, Florida, or North Carolina. Every time Florida gets a massive hurricane, they get no money. But something happens in Africa, he's ready to write the goddamn check. What the hell are we doing? Giving away all of our money to other countries, but then they don't pay it back? That's not an investment. That's just throwing money around like we have billions of it. But apparently we do have billions because they keep sending more and more money. For example, that government shutdown thing that happened a few days ago. It didn't happen, but it was thirdly because the first bill that they tried to pass, it had so much pork in it, it was basically partly paid second cousin. But the new bill, it was less thin. It was less thin. But the Democrats didn't want that because in the original bill, it had everything. I'm pretty sure it probably had the kitchen sink in it. And of course, it had a pay raise for Congress. Because they were doing such a good job for the past 4 years. They definitely deserve an extra $20 an hour. But back on topic, I really think we should stop paying into NATO until NATO pays us back. For example, if something happens in Europe, we get up, we just start writing the check down, and we wait. When something happens here, they give us nothing. They give us nothing. What the hell? Again, we help Ukraine, but they don't help us. We deter Russia from all of Europe, but when something bad happens here, say a tornado destroyed a portion of a state, a hurricane killed 300 people in one town, I know, half the country goes under somehow from a flood or an earthquake destroys all of Washington, D.C., or it destroys some capital in some state, they don't give us anything. We gave them plenty of stuff during the pandemic, but they gave nothing to us. It's about time Europe pays it fair share. I'm only being fair here. Instead of saying, you shall not good luck with Russia. It's more like, hey, we helped you with Russia for 20 years now. Can we please have some millions back? What do you think? Should they start paying back the money we invested into them? Because at this point, we will pay, at this rate, we will pay all of NATO, and all the countries there would just be just paperweights. Nothing more than just 10-ton paperweights. I'm asking questions here because I want the Americans, I want the American people's opinion on things. I want to know your opinion on everything, so I know what you stand for. So to know what I know what to say. For example, some politicians they just they just don't understand what's going on. For example, that woman that was set on fire in a subway in New York, the governor had the audacity to say that she made the subway so much safer. They are living in a bubble. They don't ask their constituents any questions. They only ask their fellow politicians. And those same politicians are themselves in an echo chamber. So basically, it's just a circle of them agreeing on the same thing. I hate that. I really do hate that. That's why I even started this live stream, because I want to know what are your opinions. How do you feel? I want to know your worries. I want to know what worries you. I want to know how if I'm ever elected, say even as a mayor, I want to know what I can do to help you. That's the whole point of being part of the government as a mayor, senator, representative, governor, maybe even the president. The whole point of public service is to help the public. Even as a police officer, your job is to protect and serve and to uphold the law. That is what I want to do. But the only way I can do that is if I gain your trust. I want to earn your trust. I want to let you know that if you have any questions, I am here. And if I have any questions, I want you to answer them truthfully. Alex Philpott says, you're absolutely right. You're dead on the ball. And that's why we need to get Hans Stutenberg in office so he can start implementing these ideas in West Fargo and then the federal government. Hans Gutenberg is not my real name, it is my stage name. Because, I was nervous about using my real name. For example, my friend, Adam Francisco. I think that's actually his name. I was nervous about using my real name until the election. My plan was as follows: wait until the election until I announce my run. If the election went for Trump, I would announce. And I did. If the election went for the other person, a alcoholic, I would hunker down and pray to God nothing bad happens. So when Trump did win, I announced I was running for mayor of West Fargo. And you have probably seen my real name in some of my videos. I made some banners for my campaign. Our campaign. To make America clean again. Vote me, Painter, in 2026 for West Fargo mayor. I know it is not good enough, but I have to start out small. I even thought one day I could run as representative. Because we only have one representative. Kelly Armstrong, who is now becoming the governor. And I had my opinions on Kelly Armstrong. Turns out he did help the Democrats during the first census of Adam Schiff. I hated his guts! But he was better than the other guy. I have my opinions on him, but if he does a good job as governor, I can give him a okay. Sorry, I'm thirsty. Anyways, as I was saying, I have to start out small in politics. I did have dreams that maybe I could be the representative of North Dakota, but I think I got. I think my head was bigger than what's the term? I was getting too big for my bitches. I thought I was all that in a bag of chips. But I think this could be a humble experience to be a mayor. Being well, being mayor of West Fargo could be a good way for me to learn the ropes. So one day I can go up the chain of command to one day maybe I could be in Congress. But to be honest, between me and the American people, I think the only way I would ever become president is if I would become the vice president, because that might be the only way I can be elected, because some of the American people don't really want a man with ideas. All they want is a man with a bright smile. A bright smile. I talked about that earlier. I mean, the way politics works, if you're blunt, if you're honest, if you want to help the American people, you don't get elected. But if you're in the politics of, say, big government or in the military industrial complex, like Nikki Haley, you can be part of any committee. I hate that. Basically, what they do is that if you're part of, you get put on some board for some company, and they pay you money to agree with stuff in Congress. It's basically it's hard to understand. It's hard to understand. It's hard to really understand and hard to put into words. Basically, you're like a figurehead. You're bought out by big corporations to be on their board, just so you can keep getting paid money to keep your job in Congress, and I hate that. But if I were to become mayor of West Fargo, I want to work with both parties. At least the moderate Democrats. I want to work with moderate Democrats. I don't want to work with the radical Democrats, because the radical Democrats hate me and want me gone. Expire. They want me 6 feet under. And they want most conservatives 6 feet under. You always see those TikToks of these radical lunatics threatening to axe Republicans in public. I don't want to work with those people. The moment I go to shake their hand, they slap it and gut me. I want to work with people that want to help the American people. I will work with moderate Democrats. I will work with independents. What I won't work with is traitors. I will not work with rhinos like Mitch McConnell or Liz Cheney. People that just want the same thing over and over again. I want true change in politics. I want to change politics. And I know I'm probably on the FBI watch list now because I want to help Americans. But that is the truth, okay? As I said before, I swear, cross my heart and hope to die, I swear I want to work with moderate Democrats and independents, okay? I will work with them to help America in any way I can. But I will not touch the rhinos or the radical Democrats. Those are the same people that keep trying to censor everyday Americans, even people that support them. Do you see where I'm going with this? I am being honest here. I want to work with them, the moderates. And yes, I will also work with the current mayor. I've actually met with him a few times. I think his name is Bernie Dient. I cannot pronounce his last name. I apologize. I did talk to him a few times. I even asked him during the tree lighting ceremony here in West Fargo, do you think I should run for mayor? I'm thinking about running, but I don't know if I should. Then I showed him my Make America Clean Again video, not the one I posted today, the other one, and I told him of what I've been doing, picking up garbage during the spring and summer, and he said I should run. This was after I officially told you I was gonna run, but I wanted his opinion on it first. And on the topic of West Fargo, I heard that this trendy agua gang is apparently in West Fargo, and I actually called the mayor. I called him, and I left a voice message saying, "I know you are having a hard time, but I just want to let you know I have full confidence in you, your administration, and in the West Fargo Police Force. You have my full confidence." Because yeah, he might run again. I mean, he is in his second year of his second term. He hasn't told me or anyone if he's running again. But if he is, I want to give him my support. I'm still, and if he wins the nomination, well, that's that. I can't do anything about that. I'm not gonna switch parties. I'm not a flip flopper. Have you considered the position of deputy mayor? I was thinking about that, and if I don't get the nomination for mayor of West Fargo, hey, at least I tried. I tried. Nixon didn't win in 1960. He didn't win the governorship a year later, but he was not sour about it. He waited, and then he won in 1968. So if I don't win in 2026, that's fine. That just means I'm not ready yet. That just means I have more to learn, more to do. So that's fine. But if I do win, if I do get the nomination, I want to work to make my city clean again. That's all I want to do, and I will also help with taxes. For example, this Doge idea, Department of Government Efficiency. I think I have a few ideas about that. First, I think that to cut taxes, we should stop all of these useless projects. For example, any useless project, say, I don't know, $10 billion into EV chargers, but only 3 were built. Cut that. Put that money into something else. Say we're paying, I don't know, how much in new construction for some random project. Cut that and put it into something we actually need. Another thing, I will not make it all about me. For example, a certain mayor in Illinois, I think you know who I'm talking about. She was all about me. She used the police force as her own personal security. That is disgusting. How dare she abuse the police force like that? That pisses me off. I think it was the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, and it was a female, so female in politics don't really mix that well all the time. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's just like with men. Men in politics, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But it's always about the person. So this mayor of Dalton, I forgot her name. I just can't remember her name. But she abused the police force as her personal servants. She used the city budget to buy all of that crap on Amazon. And she even used the city's uh, she basically used her power to advertise her stuff on Instagram. That is not how a mayor should be, okay? What I would do, I would take the job humbly. Like George Washington, he took the job humbly, but he took it seriously. If I am elected mayor of West Fargo, I will not be a hot-headed fool. Some people, once they get elected, they think they are all that and a bag of chips. And they forget about the small people that actually got them there. I will not be like that. And to prove it, I will swear on it, cross my heart and hope to die. If I am elected mayor of West Fargo, I promise I will not be an egotistical douchebag. And if at any point I start to act out of line, may God strike me dead. You don't have many politicians say that now, do you? Mostly because they know that once they do, God will strike them like Zeus. And then along came Zeus. So yeah, what do you think? I've been going on for about an hour and 30 minutes. That says a lot. Most politicians can't stand for at least 30 seconds. Mr. McConnell, he needs to retire. While I have you here, these five lovely, beautiful people, let's talk about some of the people in both parties. Because despite what the media will say, I can hate both. For example, Mr. McConnell, I hate him. He is too old and too not really senile, but he's getting there. And I think he had a stroke two times on live TV. Think about it. He is the leader of the Senate representing the Republican Party, and he does this for about 2 minutes on live TV. That is embarrassing. And again, he wines and dines with Chuck Schumer, who should be his worst enemy. And then you have people like Nancy Pelosi. She's 84 years old, and yet she's still in Congress. And she had an accident. She had an accident over in Europe, I think in Holland or Luxembourg, for what? The 80th anniversary of Operation. No, wait. I think it was for Operation Martin Garden for the anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge. And she tripped on some stairs and she broke her hip. What the hell is she doing? She's 84 years old and she's flying here, she's flying there. She should be in a mental facility and she should be in a senior living center. Heck yeah, Hans. Well, it was great finally getting to meet you. I've watched your stuff for a while, and when the time comes, my friend, I will have to fly out for the rally. I have a great day. Oh, yes, because I will try. Here's the thing. I want to do rallies, but here's the thing. You need people for that. And most people won't be on board. Hell, I will campaign everything myself if I have to. I will take donations in public to know that I am not a backhand dealer. I will not take backhanded deals. I will gladly tell the public what is in my war chest to let them know that I will never abuse their trust. Another thing that I also promised, well, I had to go soon, an hour and 30 minutes. But one thing I will say as my final message for this live stream is that I want to make this country great again. I know I can't do it by myself, but I do have worries about people betraying me, because in this line of work, anyone can betray you. I want the right people, but if I have to, I will do everything myself. I will campaign for myself. I will fund myself in any way necessary. I will collect 10,000 aluminum tin cans to fund my campaign rather than take some back alley deals from some big hotshot corporation. I will always fight for the American people because I am a bloody American and I'm proud of it. I want to make America safe again. I want to make America healthy again. I want to make America wealthy again. And I will make America clean again. Thank you, America. I love this land, or as God strikes me dead. God bless America.